Hey folks, Chad here with Exodus Outdoor Gear, and in this video I'm going to walk you through the firmware update for your Exodus Render trail camera in order to migrate that over to the all-new Exodus app. To get started, we're going to need a couple things in hand. Obviously, you're going to need the Exodus Render. You're going to need a freshly formatted SD card that's compatible with your Exodus Render, so 32 gigs or smaller. You're going to need a computer with internet access, and you're going to need a reliable power source. So either a fresh set of lithium batteries, or in this case, an external power source. This comes in really handy if you're updating a lot of cameras. Saves time just to plug and play with that external power source. So here we have the SP18. This specific firmware for your Exodus Render is only compatible with the module firmware ending in 13M4G. So to verify that, you're going to place your camera in the setup position, hit the menu button, hit the up arrow one time. That will bring you to firmware. Go ahead and hit enter on firmware, and then hit enter on version. When you come to that screen inside the camera, you're going to see two different firmware versions displayed. On the top, you're going to see the module firmware, which is the cellular module installed in the camera, and then you're going to see the camera firmware. So all we need to do is verify the module firmware ending in 13M4G. If that's you, you're at the right video. If you see 14M4G, you need to check out the other Exodus Render firmware update video, which mimics this video, but it is a different file. So once we have that verified, the next step is to go ahead and plug that SD card into your computer. You're going to visit ExodusOutdoorGear.com. When you get to the homepage, on the very top header, you're going to see a support tab. Go ahead and click support and then click trail cameras. On that page, you'll see three different options. There'll be a warranty info option, a camera FAQ option, and then a firmware update option. Go ahead and click firmware updates. And that's going to bring you to the firmware update page. And you can scroll down towards the bottom of that page, and you're going to see all the different firmwares updates available for all Exodus trail cameras. In this case, again, this is for the Exodus Render with module EC25V FAR 02A 13M4G. So we're going to go ahead and click that link, and that's going to bring you to a detailed step-by-step instruction page, which I'm explaining in this video. But if you would rather follow along the written version, that page absolutely displays the same information that I'm communicating here. So once we're on the firmware update page for module ending in 13M4G, we're going to scroll about halfway down, and you're going to see a hyperlink that is red and says download Exodus firmware by clicking here. So we're going to go ahead and click that. That's going to download the firmware file to your computer. It's important to note that that's going to end up however you have your settings. So wherever you download your files to, wherever that's saved, whether it's your desktop, your download folder, your most recent, that's where that file is going to end up. So you're going to want to go there to that location, and all we're going to do is copy and paste. So Control C to copy, or you can use your mouse, and we're just going to paste that onto the main page of your SD card. If for some reason you see a DCIM folder or any other folder on your SD card, make sure you format that. Your card should be completely empty and void of anything else, and should be completely blank. So when you paste that firmware update file onto your SD card, that is the only file that you see. You should see EDO04240622A.BRN. Once we have that file successfully placed on the SD card, we're going to go ahead and properly eject that SD card. Don't just pull it out of your computer. So now that we have that ejected, we're going to go ahead and install that into the SD card slot on your camera. We're going to put power to the camera. And once we have power, all we're going to do is turn that camera to the setup position. Once in the setup position, we're going to hit the menu button. Again, we're going to hit that up arrow one time, and then we're going to select firmware. You'll see on that page, you'll see version and update. We want to scroll down and select update. So once you select update, you're going to see a completion screen or a status screen come up on the camera. It should be a black screen, white text, and it's going to give you a percentage of how that firmware is updating. Once that screen hits 100%, it will go black for a few seconds, 2, 3, 4 seconds, and then the next screen should say MCU upgrading. If for some reason you don't see the MCU upgrading screen auto-populate after 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds, go ahead and cut power, turn the camera off, put your power back on, and turn the camera back to setup. That should spark that MCU upgrading screen. Once the MCU finishes upgrading, the camera will cycle itself. So you'll come back to what you normally see when you power that camera on. You'll see the Exodus logo, and then you'll see that user interface load. Once that takes place, you know you have successfully updated the firmware in your Exodus render camera, and it is now ready for registration and activation on the all-new Exodus app.